Hello and welcome to our next episode in our series on using ToS, ThinkorSwim. This one we're going to talk about setting up, structuring, adding and removing things from your chart, how different chart settings are going to affect it. And yeah, let's get into it. So first, let's go here to this gear right here. This gear is where we're going to control the majority of things pertaining to our chart. This is actually quite a deep subject. Now that I think about it, I hadn't really thought about it in so long because it seems so
It might be worthwhile to separate this into a few different videos talking about like indicators, studies, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be. This is just going to be first. Getting into the stuff. The thing. So I just reset the chart to default. So this is what we're looking at. SPX. This is the S&P 500. Let's just talk about what we're looking at here. So I can't move the mouse to this section, this top bar, and move it to specific candles. So I need you guys to be looking at this top bar. So as far as just understanding this chart, in our Paradox of Trading series, there was already a video about how to read candlestick charts where for a red one, we have open, high, low, close. And for a green one, we have open, low, high, and close here. So you guys should know how to read these charts as far as price data. But what it shows here, if I move, be paying attention to this here, because I can't move the mouse to the same spot. If I put the mouse on this candle and we see it kind of lights up, then this data here up at the top left will say first D 2/1/23. That is the date of this candle. O 4070.07. That is the open. 4148.95. That is the high of this candle. L is obviously the low, and C is the close. That's basically just giving you the exact numbers of each candle. Up here, we also have right here, that's the S&P price right now. We have here the minus 20.88. That represents the change during the day's trading session. If we're looking at this during market hours, this would be changing as the market moves. And then the number on the bottom, the minus 0.47, represents the percentage change, points and percentage. And then here, 4369.52 and 4408.33. That is the B&A is, of course, a bid and ask. And you can see that spread, even on the S&P, which is the most liquid thing there is almost 40 points wide after hours. Fun thing I thought I'd point out. Next, we will move over. Well, of course, here, this is important. This is where you just type in your symbol. They already have, you can go to recents, ones that you look at a lot, so you don't have to keep retyping it. Positions, futures, options, indices, indicators, currencies, and so on. Another thing that you can do is you can have multiple watch lists. So I will just pull up, I'll put 2 sets of watch lists here, and I'll do personal. I'll go to my sexy watch list. And here you can see next to the watch list, there is a red number 1 that is linked to this watch list. Here, this is just shows like a chain link. And when we click on that, it'll give us a series of numbers. That number correlates to this number on this chart. So if these are synchronized, if I click something on this watch list, it will automatically enter that symbol here as well. So right now it shows SPX. If I click SPY, it'll go there. Now we will move over to this corner where we can actually split the chart into two separate parts. And it's very simple. So if I have just one at the top left corner, it's only going to be one chart on my screen. If I go to two side by side, we're going to get two charts side by side. If I go to two like this, we're going to have one chart over the other. If I do like this, where I'm selecting four, we're going to have four charts. You get the general idea. I've never actually done this. Let's see what this looks like.
I was just about to ask.
It's worthless. All right. But as far as talking about this synchronization thing, so here we have the red one and red one. Here I can put, say, the orange number 7. And if you'll pardon me one moment, my laptop is actually about to croak.
No. I can fill in a void.
All right. We're good.
Void filled.
All right. Put the red 7. I'll do the yellow 2. Then here, we put the yellow 2. And if I hit VIX, then we're going to get the VIX on this chart. But this chart is going to remain synchronized to this watch list. If I hit, we'll get into UVOLSP. I'll use that as an example. You can see if you can figure out what it is while we're looking at it. But I'll use that as the example of actually setting up and doing the coloring and whatnot on the chart. Let's go back to one chart. This down here represents volume. This is something that we can remove if we wish to. We'll show you how to do that in a moment. I don't personally find volume to be particularly helpful, given this is the SPY, which is like the most liquid ETF ever. You look at volume and it's like, yes, there is volume.
It exists, yes. For
yeah,
sure.
there's a lot of volume. So let's zoom in here. Let's talk about, well, let's go to this chart because this is a fun one.
I will say for a second, looking at the volume can get pretty important if you're looking at other securities that maybe aren't traded quite as much as, SPX, SPY, just because.
Well, then just don't trade things that are illiquid.
Well, yes, you want to make sure you can get in and out of a position when you want to, right?
Yeah,
And
you can't get out.
Help you determine if something would be a good idea.
Yeah, we're not in the business of sticking around. Do with that what you will. Here,
no bag holding.
No bag holding. So here, this is an interesting chart. I'll do a whole nother video on a different series, but this is the UVOLSP. DVOLSP is a market internal, and actually what it's showing is S&P volume. So it's saying, like, is the total volume, like the ratio of, like, if it's going up like this, it means that there's twice as much positive volume as negative volume. So it's an interesting one, but this is a good example because there's lots of candles that are very colorful, and we can set up our chart here a little bit. So we will move on over to right here at this gear. Let me pull back up SPY so I can just show if you wanted to remove the volume graph. So how that would work, right here, you're going to see a series of things. There's general price axis, time axis, favorite time frames, appearance equities. We'll go to equities, and right here, volume, show volume subgraph. We just uncheck that, hit apply, and the volume subgraph is gone. let's go back to general. Orders. What does that mean? That means that it will actually show the order on the chart. So what I can do, for example, is place an order. I'll go with right here, and I'll go with a buy order. And this is going to be a market order, but like one share.
Yeah, it defaults to 100, so be sure you.
Yeah, I need to go into how to change that actually for the people at home. But go to send, and then here we will see, because when I right clicked here and hit buy, it was using the actual price where my mouse was to put in. It assumes, okay, you're going below and you want to buy, so that must be a buy limit. We're going to do a whole video just about order types and getting your orders in right. But that just means that setting before where it shows show orders, that just means that it will actually physically show our order on our chart, so we just know where it is. That's obviously something that's good to leave on, and it enhances situational awareness. Show alerts. I would also leave that on. So an alert works like this. I would go to, say, 4033 and go to create alert. Now, we can change this to trigger based off of a number of different things, but generally, I would suggest leaving this at mark. These others are kind of more advanced. We know what last, mark, bid, and ask price are. Leave it on mark. Then here, we tell the market to trigger at or below, so 433, at or above, or below or above. That's going to make, generally speaking, an infinitesimally small difference in like seconds in terms of when your alerts get triggered. But because we're going below here, we will put this at or below. We'll create an alert. So now we have an alert here. We can actually click the alert and drag it and move it. And then here it'll give us a message saying, did you mean to move your alert? And we hit yes, replace, and now it moved it. We can actually do the same thing with orders, believe it or not. Click that, drag it down. It'll give us a message saying, did you mean to change your entry price to 425? And we can say yes. And now get a message here saying that we canceled our previous order and now have a new order here. So this is, when I say it's kind of intuitive, it lets you, a lot of things like that, you don't need to go and find something in some menu. You can just like move it around on a chart. Now, if we move it above, it will instantly trigger. It should instantly trigger. Okay. We'll replace it and say at or above. Okay, it's because it's after hours. It's not going to trigger. But it'll give you an alert. It'll play a sound, if your sound on, and you'll know when this price has been hit.
And if you have the app too, it'll ping you.
That is also a great point. You can talk about that.
Yeah. So ThinkorSwim also has an app that you can download on iOS or Android, and so if you set up anything on your computer, so long as it's on the right or the same account, that will also show up on the app itself. So it's pretty helpful for if you need to head out to go to the grocery store or something one day, and you have an open position, but you don't want to stop monitoring it. You can still get your alerts on the app. You can still see the positions, all of these things. You can take them with you if you need to.
That is an excellent point. Yeah, you can get a notification. It will come in like a normal iPhone notification, like with any other app, and will tell you if an order has been filled, if an alert has been triggered, and just enhances situational awareness, which is critical. Let's see. We can have it snap drawing. This is something that I'll get into. This can be very helpful depending on what you're drawing. It can be very annoying. We'll do maybe another video just about the drawing tools where we talk about this specifically. Synchronized crosshair positions. That means that if you have multiple charts open, it will put the crosshair, the same stock, for example, on multiple time frames on 2 different charts. It will synchronize the position of the crosshairs across different time frames on different charts, provides the same asset. Notify me of unsaved drawings. That's where if you haven't saved a drawing, it just will ask you if you want to leave the chart and let that be erased or not. You can leave that on, that's not a problem. Time zone. This correlates, of course, to the time that's shown at the bottom of the chart. And just set this to wherever you are, I guess. From New York time, maybe you're somewhere else. These you don't really need. Data box is not really very helpful. Tools also, that's I like to leave that just set to off. That's where it will. I haven't played with this one in a while. Let me see. Single panel. Yeah, okay, that's where it just pops up a separate bubble for your tools. Yeah, just leave that off. It's kind of a dumb one, to be honest.
Hey, Ross, you were talking about creating orders just on the chart, active, something like that. For options orders, will it just show the strike price? What is
Actually, yes, but I would recommend using the options chain. Let me get to that actually. We can go to
this is just a chart.
Equities,
Options.
show options, yeah, but it doesn't really let you see the yeah, here. These are the different strikes, so we can like select. It's so janky, to be honest.
Yeah, that's trash.
Yeah, like here we can look at it and be like, okay, we're gonna buy up. It's terrible. I would not use this if my life depended on. Well, it's really bad.
But in terms of like if I use the options chain just through the trade, then options chain tab, would I be able to see the strike price of my current positions held on the chart?
Like if
that's
what
what
I order.
Yeah, if I've already placed an order, let's say I hold a
good question,
the SPY call for 440, would I see that strike price?
440.
Yeah, we're at about 440.
Yes, but actually no.
Okay.
What I mean by that is it will actually show the order as a function of where it estimates the S&P will have to reach for that order to be filled. So like, let's say that I put in like bought a put right here at 430. And I put a super, super low price. Or yeah, super, super low.
Sure.
Put. Or no, sell, whatever. Then imagine that it might display my order right here, because like if this is like where the strike is, let's just pretend. It might then display that my put here, it will put the order like down here, because the S&P would have to reach around this area for that order to actually get filled.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? It'll estimate where the S&P would have to go. It doesn't show it based off of the option strike price, unless the strike price and the price at which the S&P would have to be for the order to fill are basically identical, which absolutely can be the case. But
so it does it based on it does some internal calculations and looks based on how much you set your order.
Yeah, it uses the delta.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Cool.
Of course. So we'll go to price axis. This is something I would not mess with. That's the y-axis here. If you leave it at manual, that just means that when you manipulate the chart, you will have to manually adjust the y-axis, which is a completely unnecessary pain in the ass, and you should never do anything to yourself that's completely unnecessary pain in the ass. Same goes for time axis. So here, it gives us the option to aggregate based on a range of data, a number of ticks, which really only applies to futures or time. Just leave that at time and don't worry about it. Expansion area, this is something that's useful. So expansion area basically means how far to the right of the chart. Let me go to equities and get rid of the show options thing. So here on time axis, so I can't scroll any further to the right. Like this is maxed out. I can't go any further right, which, sometimes you want more space. I personally like some space to the right so I can look at it with some blank space off to the right. So for that, go time axis. We'll go 100 bars, which means basically 100 candles of space. Hit OK. And there, now we can scroll another 100 bars worth of data to the right. Just gives us a little bit more space. Makes things kind of more aired out, this is an important thing also. Manipulating the chart for the time axis, you just click here and drag. That actually expands or contracts the amount of time we're looking at. Price axis, it expands or contracts basically the width of the price data being displayed, and then to actually just move without contracting or expanding anything, we just go here to this scroller bar at the bottom and just scroll. Next, favorite time frames. This is something that's great to set up. So here right now we have 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly. When it says 1 day, 1 minute, what that means is that it's going to display 1 day's worth of 1 minute candles. So I would recommend editing all of these. The greater the time interval, the more RAM it's going to use, but any half decent computer that's above about $300 at Costco is going to be able to handle this just fine. I'll go to, for example, let me actually show what that means. So we'll go to 1 day, 1 minute, and this is all we can see. So it's, I guess, today, and that's giving us more. That's weird. Oh, I just changed it to, never mind. This means how many days of 1 minute, 1 minute candles it's going to display. We can change that to 5 days, and then aggregation period means the actual length of time that each candle represents. So that's 1 minute. Then we can add, we'll change maybe the 30 minute to 90 days. And then we can also add a time frame. I will go with, for example, 90 days, and we'll actually type it in. You can use this slider bar, which is kind of annoying to get it precisely right. You can go to really random time frames, or you can just type in. It gives you hours and minutes. You just type in 20 minutes and then add. And I'll drop that up here. So we go in, kind of chronological order. 1, 5, 15, 20, 30, etc., etc. We'll go to max available for daily. And we'll go to max available for weekly. And we will add monthly as well, just to be able to look at this. So now we have the max available, just means it's going to show us as much data as they have access to, essentially. Very good. Appearance. This is kind of a fun section. Appearance, we can mess about with things. So the border up means the color of the actual edge of the candle and the wicks. So let's just, for example, we'll change the color and make it something more fun. We'll go with like a blue. That means that the edge of the candles is now going to be blue, which looks so funky. Yeah, look at that. Actually, my eyes are like making it look green.
Dude, Ross, are you wanting an icy right now? Because that kind of looks like the icy colors.
Yeah, it really does, actually. Then we have bordered down. Let's make it yellow. That's all I'm going to do the edge. Now, in this case, fill up is unchecked. So if I hit fill up, it'll fill the center of these candles. We'll match the fill up color with the blue, and the fill down color, the bodies of the down candles will fill that yellow. Then here, show wicks or don't show wicks. I have absolutely no idea why you wouldn't want to see the wicks, but maybe you don't.
Interesting.
Oh, sorry.
That's an interesting move, not wanting to see the wicks. I for one, like to see the wicks.
Yeah, they give you the option to turn it off. I would not recommend it. Here, cursor, we can go to none, where we'll still see the cursor. It's just talking about the background. We have the option of having a single horizontal line, a single vertical line, or the one that makes by far the most sense, the crosshair style cursor. Color volume bar based on the ticks, that you can just change the volume coloring depending on whether that candle is an up or down candle. Let me make this green again. And we can also go to more and pick really vibrant colors. We'll go with like the most neon obnoxious green possible. And down, we'll go with the most like blood red possible. There. That looks good. I like that. It's crispy.
You want to keep fill up on?
Yes, I like to keep fill up on. You can turn both off if you want. If that's easier on your eyes or your emotions or whatever, you can turn both off. I like both on, but totally up to you.
I'm a hollow on the fill up kind of guy.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe hollow on down would be helpful to some people. But next we'll go to the grid. So here in the background, you can see a very lightly colored grid. Basically, we can just change that to be whatever color we want. I would generally leave that with like a gray. Here, if I change it, now you will see that grid more clearly. I went to a lighter shade of gray. That doesn't really matter too much. It just lets you see the lines that represent, where things are on the, relative to the respective X and Y axes. Axes, is that the correct word?
Axes?
Axes or axes?
Don't bring my degree into this.
When we go to equity,
it is axes.
We can have a display price based on the last bid, ask, or mark. You'll see actually here, it's like here it says 437.18. If I set it to mark, it will actually change where these prices are. Maybe not when the market's closed, but that's going to be so negligible it doesn't matter. Show options, that we don't, I would just leave this off. Show CNBC video. We can watch Bob Kramer talking about screwing people.
Gyms.
It's gonna be a meme. Bob, I love you. I mean, wrong, Bob, wrong Kramer. Let's see what CNBC does. I've never even done that. There's so many things here that are kind of useless that no one actually uses. What? So it just shows a little CNBC logo. That's it. Well, that's not very helpful. It literally just has a CNBC logo. That's all it is.
Is it a clickable link? Can you watch a video?
No, I don't think so. Well, it says, I mouse over, it says video, final trades. And then I click, well, I left click, nothing, right click, show news. Oh, okay, you can. It's just a pain in the ass to get to. Oh, look, what do you know? You can watch CNBC. You can watch the talking heads that know nothing. All right, so they give you that option.
For free.
That's true. But going back through this, there are so many things that I'm like, oh, I forgot it had that. Let's turn off show CNBC. Extended hours trading. This we're not going to be able to see on a daily chart, but let me switch it to a hourly chart and we'll show you what that looks like. 30 minutes. All right. The gray area is the after hours trading. The black area is when the market is open. You can actually see the majority of all the trading is when the market is closed. As far as the amount of time, it's like, well, 3 times as much time is spent trading when the market's closed and when it's open by institutions. If we go to show extended hours, we uncheck that, they'll just get rid of that. So now all we're seeing is intraday 9:30 to 4 p.m. New York time trading action.
And the reason you might want to do that, in 9:30 to 4, when the market is open, you will have you can have reasonably more confidence in the movements because you will have more liquidity.
And you can see gaps a lot better.
Yeah. So you don't have just a few people that could potentially move the stock price a lot more rapidly, as after hours would be, of a lot less orders filling.
Yes.
Between what is after hours? It's 4 to 8 Eastern, of course, and then 4:30 to 9:30. Is that right?
It depends on what you're trading.
Oh,
Like,
well, yeah.
For
futures,
example, yes, futures are 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
Equities it really depends. There's some futures that have currencies are 24 hours. Currency futures are 23. It really depends on what you're doing.
We trade crypto 26 hours a day, baby.
Crypto's 26 hours a day.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Crypto. There you go. Who knew? It's 26 hours a day.
It's kind of what some of those trash coins want you to believe.
Yeah, really. So here we can also I'll apply that. We can also just unhighlight so it won't have these gray dividers between the after hours and daytime session. So it's going to show all the after hours trading without actually indicating what is after hours and what isn't. You'd have to just mouse over candles and see the actual time of day that those candles were at. As far as this goes, I would say that's personal preference. It will have an impact on certain indicators because it's adding basically more data points for those indicators to take into account. But that's personal preference. We'll go kind of quickly through the rest of these options. Show open interest. I would not do anything with respect to options on this charts tab. Futures. This is basically just a duplicate of all the settings that are available to you with equities, but for futures, and you're going to get for Forex, it's just what you want to display the price based on, and you want volume subgraph. All pretty self-explanatory at this point. And we're about to start navigating into other tools, but we'll go into drawing on charts. I'll also give you guys another trick here for navigating. Within, there's these top tabs, and then when you click on one, you get sub tabs. So like you have these sub tabs under Market Watch, these sub tabs under chart. So if you're on a well, it's actually, no, it is Control on Mac. I'm using a Mac, so it's same on Windows and Mac. You hit Control, and then you hit, while holding Control, you hit whatever number's there, 2. It'll let you quickly switch from one top tab to the next without actually having to go find it and click it. And then you can hit Option on Windows. It'll be Alt, and then switch between those sub tabs more quickly. Alrighty. So next part, we're going to go into actually drawing and manipulating our chart now that we know what the settings mean on that chart. Anything else you want to add?
Not at the moment. I think you did good just covering the charts in general.
Good deal.
Get it how you like it, and then get it how you want it.
Sounds
Indicator, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not done.